My name is Kirstie and I have been accepted onto Disney's Cultural Representative Programme, and I'll be starting work in April as of next year, and I can't quite believe it. It doesn't feel real. I've known for a few weeks and I still feel overwhelmed, and I still feel like it's not my life because I can't quite believe it. So this channel is going to be me documenting the journey. I'm going to give you tips and advice and tell you how my interviews went, how I applied for the job, and I'm going to take you along with me when I move to Florida as well as things in between. I want to make this a little diary for myself to look back on and have all of the memories when I am old and grey, and I'm so excited for this next chapter of my life, and I would love to take you along with me. So as I said, my name is Kirstie and I am from Manchester in England. If you're familiar, Manchester is in the northwest part of England, and I love Manchester. It is a great city, but I'm so excited to be moving to Orlando for a year. I have been to Orlando before. Last year, me and my boyfriend went on a holiday. Went on a cruise actually, and our final port was in Orlando, Florida, and we did a little road trip up the coast and we drove past Disney World, and at that time I wasn't even thinking about applying. So now thinking back, it's going to be so surreal to this time when I go will be because I'll be moving and living there for a year. So I mentioned I'm doing the CRP, the Cultural Representative Programme, and basically what that is I will be living and working in Disney World for an entire year. So the CRP takes place in Epcot in Disney World in the World Showcase, where there are so many different countries that get involved and hire people from those countries to showcase their culture and bring the authenticity of their home to the role. There's countries like Mexico and Japan and Norway and France. There's so many amazing countries involved, as well as the UK. And basically what that is each country has its own little mini village, which is modelled after the country it's from. So for England, for example, it has a fish and chip shop, a beer garden, it has a merchandise side which has tea and royal memorabilia, and it's basically a little mini homage to the UK, and each pavilion is set up in this way as well. Norway does have its own frozen ride though, which is amazing, but the UK does not. So my role will be working in the food and beverage. My role will be working in the food and beverage section of Epcot. So it's going to be very traditionally English. I know that the outfits are really fun. It's like an old vintage style UK outfit with a puffy skirt for the women and stockings for the men. And it's gonna be so great. So the UK side, as I mentioned, has fish and chips and beer and toad in the hole and sticky toffee pudding, very traditional, very typically British foods. So I will be working in a selection of those different parts, and that's what I'll be doing for the entire year. So there are two sections. There's a merchandise section and the food and beverage. You can't cross over and do both, unfortunately, but that is okay. Although I do have experience in both merchandise and food and beverage, I did specify that I would prefer working in food and beverage, and I'm so glad that I got my choice, although I would have been happy with anything, to be honest. But I think it's going to be so special to be in a typical English pub at Disney World. So with it being the English pavilion, all of the traditionally English characters are there, like Mary Poppins and Winnie the Pooh. And Winnie the Pooh is my all-time favourite character, and I'm going to be so excited to see them on the regular. So that is the role, and that is what you are doing when you are there. The amazing part about this role is that you are one of the only people who work at Disney to actually live at Disney as well. So while you're employed with Disney on the CRP or the academic exchange or basically any of the exchange programs. You live in somewhere called Flamingo Crossings, which is on site in Disney World. So that is where I will be living when I do move to Florida next year. My start date is April 7th, so I'll be starting 2025, April 7th through to April 2nd, 2026. And I'm so overwhelmed and excited, and I can't quite believe this is happening. I have never been to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland Paris for the first time this year with my boyfriend for his birthday, but I've never been to Disney World. So I'm actually going to document my very first time in Disney World next year before my program starts, and I'd love to take you along with that as well. And I'm just so unbelievably grateful for this opportunity, because I know how sought after this job is and how life-changing this role is as well, and I can't believe this has happened to me. I think when I think about how many people have applied and how lucky I am to have been chosen, I'm so grateful. So taking it back to the beginning, I first applied for this job in February. I then had a pre-screen interview with YummyJobs in March, and then my Disney interview in Hammersmith in April. So from February when I applied up until now, it's been about a 7-month process. So be prepared to wait quite a long time. In terms of when my actual start date is, it will end up being a 15-month process. So it is a wait. It's not a simple, quick and easy thing where you apply and you go out. There is definitely patience involved. But I think it's definitely going to be worth the wait. So the next steps for me, since I don't start for a little while, are when you first get accepted, there's some paperwork and things to do, which I'll be sharing a separate video on, going into detail on how that works. And basically I just have to live my life now, counting down the days until I leave. So I have a trip planned next month to Thailand, where I'll be backpacking for a month with my boyfriend, and I'll be taking you along with that. And then I'll be going to Disney World in February next year and starting my program in April. So that is my plan before I leave. I did tell Disney that I was planning on traveling before my program started, and they were very happy about that. They thought it was a very good reason for me to start a bit later, so April. It's definitely a bucket list item for me. I cannot believe this is happening, especially since I've never even been to Disney World, and now here I am moving there to live for an entire year, and I am on Disney Talk right now. I am well and truly in the hole. I have spreadsheets, I have so many plans and so many bucket list things I want to do while I'm there. I am not going to waste this opportunity, and if you are interested in the CRP and Disney programs and applying yourself or just watching, I would love to take you along with me and see what I get up to and my travels in the meantime. So yeah, that is my plans for the channel and what this will be. I don't think it's going to settle in and actually sink in I'm going until next year, because at the minute I'm still so consumed by the fact that I'm going to Thailand in a few weeks and excited for the possibilities that will unfold. I've never been to Asia, so I'm very excited for what that's going to teach me and show me, and all the culture that will bring. And then I'll be going to Disney World for the very first time next year too. So I'm so overwhelmed and so incredibly grateful and thankful for this opportunity. I think if you are considering trying, there's nothing wrong with trying. You might not get it, that's fine, but you might get it and it might change your life. And I think that adventure is definitely worth taking. So if you are a Disney lover or a travel lover or just interested, I would love to bring you along on this adventure with me. I hope to see you soon. I hope you have an amazing day, and yeah, that's me.